Hi everyone, so in this video we will be looking at factorization of quadratics. Now we would have done different types of quadratics, different types of factorization in previous videos, such as difference of two squares, factorizing by grouping, simple factorization, and so on, right? Now this particular type of factorization is honestly one of the more difficult ones for students to understand, and if you don't understand it right away, don't be scared. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to show you two methods. In this video is going to be one method, which I think is somewhat the more difficult method, and the next video will be hopefully a slightly easier method. All right, so let's get it. So everyone needs to know this part, the general form of a quadratic, what a quadratic looks like. So the general form of a quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c. That's just something you need to know. You need to know how to identify a quadratic. There is at least one term with a square with has the power of 2, that is squared, right? One letter. Now the a represents the coefficient of x squared. In simpler terms, coefficient of x squared means the number before the x squared, right? And we'll get to that in the examples below. The b represents the coefficient of x, again, which is the number before the x. And c is a constant. And normally the constant is the number by itself, has no letter attached to it or anything. So now let's look at the examples lower down here now. So we want to state the values of a, b, and c. Let's look at the first one. We have 2x squared minus 2x plus 5. Now remember, a is the coefficient of x squared, the number before the x squared. So the number before the x squared here is 2, right? b is the coefficient of x, the number before the x. Now the number before the x, some children sometimes make a mistake and might just look at it and say 2, but it's actually minus 2 or negative 2. You must carry the sign with it, right? And then c, the number by itself, is 5. Positive 5, but we just write the 5. We don't have to write the positive sign. All right, so let's look at number 2. We have negative 5x squared plus 3x minus 5. Again, a is the number before the x squared, which is negative 5. b is the number before the x, which is positive 3. And c is the number by itself, right? Minus 15. Minus by itself, no letter attached to it. Again, let's go again, number 3. We have x squared plus x plus 19. So the number before the x squared is 1. We don't see a number, but we know 1 is understood. The number before the x, the b, which is 1 again, and then the c, the constant, is the number by itself and no letter attached, 19. Right? Pretty simple to understand that. So now we're going to get into the meat of things, actually factorizing the quadratics. So let's get the example, like 1. Factorize x squared plus 7x plus 10. So I have them laid out in steps, right? So step 1, list the values of a, b, and c. So the value of a in this case is the coefficient of x squared, which is 1, number before the x squared. The b is the number before the x, which is 7, and c is the number by itself and no letter attached, which is positive 10, right? Cool. Step 2, we have to multiply a and c. So a times c, what is a? A is 1 multiplied by c, which is 10. So 1 times 10 is 10. Good so far. Step 3, list the factors of the number you got when you multiplied a and c. So therefore, we have to list the factors. The number we got when we multiplied a and c was 10. So now we need to list the factors at 10. So let's list the factors at 10. 1, 2, 5, and 10. So far, so good, right? And now let's go to step 4 and step 5. Now I already wrote in the pieces for these steps here, right? So I'm just going to go through it together. So step 4 now, choose 2 factors. Listen to this. Choose 2 factors from above, so that when you multiply those 2 numbers you choose, you get the value of a times c, and the 2 numbers you choose must add up to get the value of b. So let's look at this again, right? the two numbers that you choose, when you multiply them, you must get the value of A by C, which is 10, right? And then the two numbers that you choose, when you add them, you must get the value of B, which is what? Let's go back and let's look at what B is. B was 7, right? So let's keep that in mind. Now, let's look at the first column, A times C, right? Which two numbers out of these factors I could use to multiply and get 10? We know well, okay, if I use 1 and 10, right? 1 times 10 will give me 10, so that works out for here. But those same two numbers, when you add them, so 1 plus 10, supposed to give me 7, but that gives me 11. I need to get 7, right? I need to get 7. So I can't use 1 and 10. Now let's choose, well, the next two numbers I multiply to get 10 would be 2 and 5, right? So choosing 2 and 5. So let's try this. 2 times 5 gives me 10. Great, it works. And now we have to add those two numbers to see if it'll give us B. So 2 plus 5 gives us the 7. So you see how it works? So now we need to choose, we are choosing 2 and 5 because it works for both cases. When we multiply it, we get the value of A times C, which is 10. And when we add them, we get the value of B, which is 7. Again, I know it's a lot to take in, but don't worry. Now, step 5, which is my last step. So we had the finish line. Now, using the two numbers you chose in step 4, which was 2 and 5, we are going to replace our B value in the quadratic with these numbers. So this was my original quadratic. X squared plus 7x plus 10. I'm replacing this 7x now with the two numbers I choose. So I'm replacing it now by saying x squared plus 2x plus 5x. You see how the two numbers I choose, I replaced it with the 7x. Because it's the same thing. 2x plus 7x, 2x plus 5x gives me back the 7x, right? We didn't change the value of anything, we just broke it down, right? And I'm going to have the plus 10 at the end. Now we have 4 terms. Remember, when you have 4 terms, you have to use factorization by grouping. And if you can't remember factorization by grouping, that would have been in one of my past videos, so you can look back on that. So factorization by grouping, we group the first pair, first two terms, and then the second, the next pair, the last two terms. So we have 4 pairs now, we're going to factorize, just like what you're normally doing, right? So the first pair, we have x squared plus 2x. Pull out, right, the common term, which is x, right? So x by x will give me back the x squared, x by 2 will give me back 2x. Cool, what you know how to do this. And then we have 5x plus 10. So between 5 and 10, you pull out 5, right? 5 by x will give me back the 5x, and then 5 by 2 will give me back the 10. Now, what's important, you see what's in the two brackets here? They must always be the same. If it's not the same, you have to go back and check what you did, right? It must always be the same, because our final answer, you put back that bracket, the common bracket, which is the x plus 2 in this case. And in my second bracket, you put what's on the outside, x plus 5. So my final answer is x plus 2. That's what was repeated in the two brackets. My second bracket was what's on the outside, the x plus 5. And that's my final answer there, right? If you want to double check your answer, you could remove your brackets, expand into brackets, and you would see you would get back x squared plus 7x plus 10, which was the original sum, right? Now we're doing another question. Hopefully it's a little bit easier. Same steps. So we're going to factorize 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. Step 1, let's see values of a, b, and c. A is 2. I went ahead and I did everything here, right? A is 2, the number before the x squared. B is 7, the number before the x. And c is the number by itself with no letter attached, which is 6. Step 2, multiply a and c. So a times c, which was 2 times 6, a times c is 12, right? So now step 3, let's see factors of the number you got when you multiplied a and c. So the factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. So the first 3 steps are really easy, right? I think step 4 is the hardest step when you have to choose 2 numbers. So step 4 now, choose 2 factors from above that when you multiply them, you get the value of a times c. So a times c was 12, and we need to get the value of b. Let's just check back what was our b. Our b was 7 again, right? So 7, right? So the two numbers choose, you must get, when you multiply it, you must get the value of a times c. And when you add them, you must get the value of b, which is 7 in this case. So now, but I already have that we're choosing 4 and 3. But let's go through all the possibilities so you know what to do, right? So one option could be choosing 1 and 12, because 1 times 12 will give me 12, right? 1 times 12 gives me 12. Works here. But then when I do the sum, 1 plus 12, that gives me 13. I don't want 13, I want 7. So let's go again. I can choose 2 and 6. So 2 and 6, because 2 times 6 gives me 12 again. Good. And now the sum, add the two numbers, 2 plus 6, that gives me 8. But I don't want 8, I want 7. So now we're going to try the last possibility, which is the one, obviously, that we're going to use, 4 and 3. So 4 times 3 gives me the 12, right? And then the sum, 4 plus 3, that gives me the 7, that value of b that we need. And it honestly, as you practice and you do more questions, it gets easy, right? It gets a little bit more difficult when you have negative signs in the mix, which we would do. I might actually do the negative questions with negative numbers in it in the next video, right? Now step 5, again, we're going to replace the two numbers. Replace our b value with the two numbers that we choose. So replacing the 7x with 4x plus 3x. And from here, we do our factorization by grouping. Right? In my first pair, I pull out, well, between 2 and 4, I pull out 2. And between x squared and x, I pull out x. So it's really 2x I'm pulling out. 2x by x gives me back 2x squared. 2x by 2 gives me back 4x. Plus, then we have 3x plus 6 in my second pair. I pull out 3. 3 by x gives me back 3x. 3 by 2 gives me 6. And again here, so happen at this one here, we have the same x plus 2 here. But you see how it's repeated, right? X plus 2. So x plus 2, that goes in my first bracket. And in my second bracket, what's on the outside, that's what I put. X, right? Plus 3. And yeah, that's my final answer. If you want to double check again, as I said, expand in two brackets, expand your two brackets, and you would get back the original quadratic, which is 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. Again, it's all about practice, right? You could pause the video, try again. Pause the video, at different points, try the questions on your own, and then play when you want the answer. So I'll see you on my next video.